It's believed that the brain processes over 400 billion bits of information per second. However, we're only conscious of 2,000 of these. That's incredibly ineffective. That's like having a Ferrari and then getting it towed by a donkey. How can we access our brain's full capacity? We have to use our subconscious mind. In this video, I'm going to show you a technique to talk directly to your subconscious mind and get those answers. Now, there's a story I always tell people, and it's a story that got me interested in the subconscious mind in the first place. Basically, what happened was I was at the gym with one of my training partners, and one of our mutual friends came up to us and introduced us to this other guy. Now, this guy worked the Subway. We said hi and continued with our workout. Later on that week, my friend and I were discussing this other guy, and we needed his name for some reason. We couldn't remember his name to save our lives, and we just kept going back and forth. I'm sure you've had that feeling before where you had something at the tip of your tongue, or you had something that you knew but you just couldn't access it. So we just kept trying. Is it James? Is it John? Is it Steve? We kept trying the alphabet, going through different names, trying to get to the bottom of it, and we couldn't do it. So eventually what happened was we just forgot about it. We went on our way. Later that night, before I went to sleep, I had this strange idea. I don't know where it came from, but I thought to myself, you know what? I'm gonna ask myself to retrieve this name. So I went to sleep that night with the intention of remembering this name. I woke up in the middle of the night, as I usually do, to go to the toilet, and I heard George. I went to the toilet, and it was when I was in the toilet, I realized that George was actually the name of the guy, the Subway guy. So I quickly ran to my phone and put it down in my notes. The next morning, quick Facebook search led me to discover that George was indeed the name of this guy. So how on earth was I able to remember the name of this guy while I was sleeping? However, when I was awake and conscious and deliberately trying to find this name, going through the alphabet, I couldn't. That's because of the subconscious mind. Now take a look at this picture here. How many squares do you see? Just take a look at it. Chances are you see some squares appearing when you move your gaze across the screen. But when you concentrate on one block, you don't see those squares appearing. It's the same thing with the subconscious mind. Sometimes when we concentrate on something with so much energy and purpose, it actually gets in the way of us progressing. You see, here's the magical thing about our brains. Our brains don't sleep. When you go to the gym and you use your biceps, and you're doing your last rep, last set, peak intensity, your muscles are activated at an incredible rate. You're activating a lot of your muscle fibers. However, as soon as you rest and things cool down a bit, you're not really activating many of those fibers throughout the day. Our brains are different. They're on at 90 to 100% all the time, even when we're sleeping. In neuroscience, scientists have discovered that there's two modes of operation. There's what's called a task positive network, which is a bunch of brain regions that activate when we are consciously working on something, when we deliberately have our attention and awareness on it. Then there's the task negative network, also known as the default mode network. This is the regions in the brain that spark up when we're just, daydreaming, when we're not putting our attention purposely on something. And even when we're sleeping, our brains think about all kinds of things and compute things without us even knowing. That's the subconscious brain at work right there, and neuroscientists are now starting to discover that. Think of your subconscious brain or a thought process kind of like an egg. When you see an egg, a chicken egg, right, in a nest, you don't think much of it. You think that perhaps it's just, it's egg, it's not doing much, it's not rolling, it's just there, and it's kind of boring. Nothing amazing is going on. However, when you look inside, if you analyze what was going on inside that egg as the chicken is forming, a bunch of complex things are happening as life is actually coming. Billions of bits of information going into the chicken. Eventually what happens is the chicken cracks open out of the egg and this whole new organism arrives, and it's got this consciousness and it's moving around. So that's the same thing with our brain. When you start off with a thought and you let it work, you let it incubate with the subconscious mind, it can grow until you come up with a solution, something that's amazing. Geniuses like Albert Einstein were known to use the intuitive mind a lot, not just the conscious mind. Einstein actually said, "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift." You see, Einstein used his subconscious mind and visualization to create thought experiments which revolutionized physics and the way that we looked at the physical world with his equations. He started off with these thought experiments to help break through the plateaus he was having with his mathematical equations and his actual conscious work. The thought experiments gave him epiphanies. Famous ones like the elevator experiment and the train experiment, or him riding on a bike and viewing a beam of light traveling with him, helped form the theory of relativity. Many scientists have attributed this intuitive mind to being the reasoning behind their scientific discoveries, this out-of-the-box thinking. The film A Beautiful Mind highlights this perfectly when it shows John Nash discovering the Nash equilibrium theory for game theory while sitting at a bar and trying to pick up a girl. I know what you're thinking, so what the hell is the technique? Pay attention. I learned this technique from Michael Michalko, who is a creativity specialist who specializes in understanding how geniuses think, how they think outside the box. So this is a way for you to give suggestions to your subconscious mind in regards to tasks and discovering new ways of doing things. What you want to do first is figure out what the problem is. Define the problem. Let's say you have a problem, and let's say this particular problem is an engineering problem and you're an engineer, right? And you have to design this bridge. So what you want to do is you want to define exactly what the problem is. Then you want to get all the information in front of you. So find as much information as you can that's going to help you fix this problem consciously. So this could be textbooks, this could be experts, this could be looking at previous designs, or anything that can help you. Get that in front of you and then try deliberately solve the problem as you normally would in life. So you can do this for 5 hours straight, or you can do this over the span of a couple of days. Just deliberately try to solve the problem. If you're lucky, you will solve the problem and you'll be able to walk away. But sometimes we can't solve the problem at that conscious level. So what you then want to do is get out a pen and a paper. You want to write a letter to your subconscious mind. I know this sounds weird, but it will make sense. You want to write a letter to your subconscious mind. So, dear subconscious, or dear me. And then you write a letter explaining what your problem is, exactly as it is. You know, make sure to clearly define it and explaining what you need the subconscious to do, or what solution the subconscious should come up with. So you want to write it as if you're writing it to an expert or to a guru who's going to help you with this problem. So once you write this problem, what you want to do is completely forget about it. Don't think about it anymore. Don't consciously go over it anymore. You've wrote it, just leave it. So go on throughout your day as normal. Go for a walk, maybe meditate, swim, play some Xbox or PS4 or whatever you do. Just go on and live your life. What would happen is, within a week, usually, you will get your answer. And the answer can come in the most unlikely time. Maybe when you're taking a shower, boom, you've got the answer. You've got a new way of looking at the problem. And that's when you can go back and then use your conscious mind with this newfound idea. The answer sometimes can come in the form of a dream, right? So pay attention to your dream. Always have a notepad near your bed or anywhere where you rest or are in that meditative calm state, because a lot of the times that's when you're gonna have those great ideas. This has happened to me numerous times. A lot of times people ask me, how am I able to come up with these videos? This channel has over 300 videos, each video covering a different topic. How am I able to come up with this? It's because my subconscious mind is always working in the back, finding solutions, finding new video ideas. It's tuned into that frequency. So I can go for a walk outside, analyze something, maybe a car driving past, and it would just connect the dots for me, and I'll have a new idea, something interesting to talk about with you guys. It's because I become in tune with my subconscious mind. It's like what Einstein says, you have a gift and you have to learn to use it. Now, this isn't just for engineering problems. That was just an example I gave you. You can do this for your personal relationship problems. You can do this for problems you have in regards to your career. If you're not sure about the choices you're making in your career, you can do this about just direction. If there's something you're unsure about, your subconscious will tell you in one way or another when you least expect it, but you need to put that suggestion out there. If you don't put that suggestion out there, it's not going to come to you. The reason I was able to remember that guy's name is because I put the suggestion out there. And if you're having trouble actually getting the solution, because sometimes these answers will come a bit later, just reflect on your letter before you go to sleep. So every night before you go to sleep, just reread it. Don't try consciously think about it, just reread it. And I guarantee you'll come up with a new solution. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that technique. Use it, and I promise you, you'll be one step closer to living and dying well. Thanks for watching the video. I appreciate you. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the bell notifications so we can see more of each other. Until next time.